Hello everyone, Nika here with your daily neuro nugget. I hope you had a wonderful 4th of July weekend, but we are back at it again. We have a lot of information to cover. Why? Because the internet is saying that there is now new bone-chilling evidence, and this could impact how Bryan Kohberger's trial plays out and how the world, us included, perceive him. So before we get started, I want to, of course, I love you, and you must know this because it's 90 degrees here in Chicago, and I am drinking hot tea just for you because I know so many of you request these teas. So today I brewed this beautiful tea. It is lavender and chamomile and rose petals. I did find a 2020 study showing that the lavender is actually shown to reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. And of course, the smell is just immediately soothing. I love this powerful de-stressing combination, but I am not a doctor. Don't do what I do. You will not sue me. Talk to your doctor. This is not medical advice. People, stop taking advice from people on the internet. Thanks. Now, let's give this a try. Very tasty. Sweet, not bitter at all. Let's get right into this alleged bone-chilling new evidence against Bryan Kohberger. Nancy, disgrace. First of all, come on, girl. She literally has a video every day of new bone-chilling evidence. Every day we have this new evidence coming out. It's just insane, right? Talk about clickbait. You guys like to say that YouTubers use clickbait, but here we have Nancy Grace with new evidence every day. And this new evidence is that Bryan Kohberger lost 100 pounds and then had 2 surgeries to remove that. And that, according to Nancy Grace and the people she had on her show, well, supposedly this points to BK being the guy because he was a raging narcissist incel who couldn't get any love from beautiful girls, so he went full rage and took 4 young people out. I'm sorry, but the psychologist in me is wanting to come out and just say this is pure BS here. But that's what Nancy Grace does, right? She allows people to spew nonsense on her channel because why? Because follow the money. Every time there is money involved and people are making money, people have no backbone, no morals, no ethics. That sometimes gets pushed to the side in order to make money. So first of all, my question to Nancy Grace and the people spewing this nonsense on her show is like, well, how do you know that Bryan Kohberger had 2 surgeries after losing 100 pounds? Were you there for the surgeries? Do you have pictures of these surgeries or scars? Do you have his medical record? Did you look at his medical record? Who did you speak to? And why are you allowing people to come onto your show and present opinion as fact? That is very problematic. Now, they go on to say that when Kohberger lost 100 pounds, he was trying to make himself an Adonis, a god, to chisel out his body and to reinvent himself. And they also go on to say that Bryan Kohberger, post weight loss, post surgeries, became a whole different person. He became a know-it-all and aggressive. And how do we know any of that is true? Did they even interview anyone? If they did, are those people reliable? And we could also question the fact that, is that even true at all? Because again, people can just make things up and say, oh, the peers said that without actually interviewing the peers, right? And I feel like it's very normal to change your demeanor when weight loss is a thing. Like, I've seen so many people lose 5 to 10 pounds and like 1 dress size, and they just become more outgoing, more confident. They now have the confidence in themselves to maybe talk to the opposite sex or people they're interested in, or to just even stand up for themselves. And that can trigger a lot of haters to hate you because this person that they saw as maybe, oh, he's just a quiet, shy, overweight kid, now is attractive to the opposite sex. Well, now he is a problem. Now he is somebody that may take potential partners, female partners, away from me. And that's how a lot of people view weight loss, or any close person who does some sort of self-improvement. That can trigger the haters. When you improve yourself, looks wise, weight wise, financially wise, that's going to trigger people. So is it possible that these people that were interviewed saying that he was aggressive and a know-it-all are just hating on Bryan, or were hating on Bryan when he became confident in himself, if he became confident in himself post weight loss? Now, from the get-go, I have said that there's something wrong in this case, in this IDAHO4 case. Something is not right. We have a roommate who allegedly saw a masked man, went back to bed, and no one heard a thing, right? Except for the dog, which we can hear barking in the background of the cameras that were retrieved post-crime. But the other thing that now is in my mind, because you guys know I always say follow the money, is why are so many people, especially Nancy Grace, pushing this book so hard when they know very well it is a book of fiction, of speculation? So I am starting to wonder, is Nancy Grace getting a kickback? Or is it the fact that allowing people to spew nonsense on her channel is attracting more viewers? Because drama attracts views, and views make money. So how much has she increased her revenue pushing this book by Howard Bloom? One must wonder. And if she's getting a kickback from pushing the book, potentially, do you guys think that that's something she should disclose? Because I think it's something she should disclose, because that would make her biased. Now, she also had Tracy Brown in this video that I watched, and she is somebody who calls herself a body language expert. Now, that to me was hilarious because she broke down the dumbest thing. We see Bryan Kohberger exiting the courtroom in the last hearing, and Tracy is saying, well, the fact that he left without his team, that he left first, means that he doesn't allow Ann Taylor, he does not accept her to be his leader. And I'm thinking, well, maybe, just maybe, he had to go first to do something. Maybe the team could have been still discussing something in the courtroom. Why jump to conclusions? And I want to know where she got her body language training at, because she keeps going back and forth. She doesn't seem very educated in body language. You must remember, body language it's a very difficult skill to learn, because we have to take into account the person's emotion at that time as well. And they can shift, especially when being under pressure or in jail. Now, she also says that he seems so distant. He seems so distant from the team. And I'm like, well, of course he's freaking distant. I mean, he's probably up to here. Like, he's probably fed up. This has been 2 years, over 2 years. Nothing has really gotten done. Yes, some things are popping up, but I think Bryan Kohberger and anybody who has been in jail for probably over a year, I mean, it's got to take a mental toll. And I don't know, but I have a feeling Bryan Kohberger probably has a higher than average IQ, meaning that, I hope he has interesting books to keep him occupied, because when you have a higher IQ, you constantly want to learn, to grow, and when that growth is stunted, it can make people very stressed out or distance themselves, right? So we also have people in the comment section, and it's crazy to me that this is 2024, because the comment section, we just know that this entire case has been basically a medieval witch hunt. And why? Well, because we the people who are watching this case from afar, even some people outside of the country, basically said, you know what, he's a creepy incel and he did it. That's why. Easy as 1, 2, 3. Even though there is no proof that he ever met any of the victims, and there's no Google searches, there was no blood in the car, nothing to show that there was some sort of relationship between him and the victims like they had originally said, right? So now the state is having to track back and find a connection, but we don't have one yet, and that is a problem. Now, I don't know about you guys, but as a veteran, I'm a big fan of innocent until proven guilty and the rest of our rights as well. I think that they should be protected. So one must wonder if this book that Howard Bloom has written, sorry, English is not my first language, is going to poison the well as far as the jury goes, because he is being allowed to spew nonsense everywhere. And I'm here talking about it because when we don't talk about those things, we end up in an echo chamber. Please Google echo chamber. You'll find out that it's not a good thing. So scrolling through the comments, I was actually very happy to see that a lot of people in the comments are intelligent enough to not believe everything that they see and hear in the media, including Nancy Grace's channel. And for those of us who have kept up in this case and are not just taking every bit of media info on this case as truth, we're doing our research and we are realizing, and we have realized since very early on, that there's a lot of problems for the state in this case, right? For example, the state has yet to address why the witnesses did not call 911 for over 8 hours. That is going to be a problem. It doesn't matter if they were asleep or were they using substances. It's going to be a problem when the trial begins. Now, then we have the crime scene, which was not processed properly, and it could have been contaminated by the friends that arrived before the cops were called. Remember that, right? The fraternity folks were over. What were they doing? Did they tamper with any evidence? Could the knife sheath have been planted? Because at this very moment, that is the only thing pointing against Bryan Kohberger, is the tiny bit of DNA. And the DNA is problematic on its own, right? Then we have the FBI. Oh, the FBI, right? They can get away with anything. It seems like they lied about data points on the CASHAPP report, and they violated their own freaking policy by using IgG in an unethical manner. But now they want nothing to do with the IDAHO4 case. They just said, oh, here, we're going to give you false, made-up information, and then we're going to disappear. You're going to have to figure out, Idaho, figure it out. And then we have, of course, one of my heroes, Cy Ray, ex-cop, speaking up first time for the defense. First time in his entire career. Comes out and says, this is a problem. There are massive, important data gaps missing. How are we supposed to get a fair trial for Bryan Kohberger if we have these massive gaps? Can you imagine a cop saying, I gotta come forward and speak up because something smells funny here, both from the FBI and Moscow Police Department? So yes, lots of problems. And by the way, just assuming that Bryan Kohberger is the guy, because that's still a possibility. Well, we have proof that the crime scene was not processed properly. There was no chain of custody. Things were not tested properly. Things were just thrown in trucks, not labeled, nothing. We see some of the police officers not even wearing gloves. That is also going to be a problem, because if BK was the guy, well, now you just royally screwed this up, Moscow Police Department, because if this was the guy and Ann Taylor can show you guys messed up the crime scene all on your very own, well, we could potentially have a criminal who gets to walk away. So it's a problem either way. This, to me, shows that we have an even larger problem, and that is the FBI and Moscow Police Department thinking that they are above the law, thinking that taking shortcuts, trying to get to the answer by cheating, lying, stealing, hiding bits of information is the way. And it is never the way. It will always bite you in the ass. Because again, BK is the guy, well, they just royally screwed this up, and now we could have somebody walking. And if he's not the guy, then that is also going to come out at trial, right? So, any FBI agents listening to me, any Moscow police listening to me, the only thing I want to remind you is that you're not above the law. And I also want to remind you, if you're just a regular citizen, that if you have any interactions with any LE, law enforcement, that you believe they're abusing power, you need to report that, because we need to nip it in the bud. We need to get rid of that rotten apple so that it does not ruin the rest of law enforcement. So that's it for today, guys. It's insane. We need to wait till September to see what more information does the state hand over, if any. So you guys have a good night. Take care. See you soon.